Hey guys, how are you? I hope you guys are doing well. It's hot. Welcome, hot Australia. It's summertime here, man. It's sizzling. Um, I just want to let's do events that have happened in the US, in the in the black manosphere, if I can say that. that I just want to comment on. One of them is Shannon Sharpe, and then the other one is Deion Sanders. Shannon Sharpe has been one of those people that reminds me of people in Africa. Like truly. I watch this guy's comments. I watch some of the comments he said about just black people in general. He's not pro-black. Let me just put it that way. He'll say whatever it takes to sort of bring down black people. And you can see it's the energy that comes in criticizing black people. You can just see it, people's face, the voice. It's like there's this energy, like you want to really criticize, and that's Shannon Sharpe, right? I always wondered why in his interviews he has with a guy called Skip, I think Skip Bayless or something like that. That's his name, this white guy. When Shannon Sharpe is talking, he keep bringing, Skip. I'm telling you, Skip. It's like he's always mentioning this guy's name as if he's trying to prove something to him. It's like one of those, like you see, it's like you're in Africa and you see an African taking a picture with a white person. They're always trying to put the arm around the white person as if to show to show the other Africans that we're friends. That's Shannon Sharpe. And when I looked up some of the pictures on YouTube, on Google, I found him actually doing that. His arms around this Skip guy. Now Skip, I don't think he ever did anything. He wasn't an NFL player. Maybe he was a fan of the NFL. Not a basketball, not this. He's just on TV. Whereas Shannon, he was actually a player. Now, this is the problem even Africans have. And now I've started to realize it's not just Africans, it's every black person. They have this sickness where just because you are hanging out with a white dude, black people believe it's their friend. It's their friend. It's like what's happening right now. America there's a US Africa Summit, African Leaders Summit happening in the US right now. The US has called all these Africans to go and meet with them. And all these Africans believe that the US has their best interest. Not true. They're not your friends. The US has the best interest of other Western nations. That's why you see NATO. NATO is white. NATO is not a mixture of black and it's just white. There's black people fighting for NATO because there's nothing else to replace it. And that's just the way it is. And Shannon found out the hard way that white people stick together. If you're born in Canada, you can travel to the US, you can travel to Europe. There's 90% most of these places passport visa free. You can travel anywhere in the world, in the Western world, if you are born in the Western world. And that's how these people operate. They are connected together. You guys are second to them. If there's a white person there, it's like what Julius Malema once said. If you see a white person and a black person fighting, just join in and beat up the white guy and then ask the black guy afterwards why they were fighting. Because white people do that. They protect their own. Shannon Sharpe, what Shannon Sharpe experienced live on television is a wake-up call to almost every black person out there. He found out the hard way. Shannon Sharpe always thought Skip Bayless was his mate. Like, you're my mate, you're gonna rape me. He found out the hard way. Skip Bayless raped Tom Brady, even though maybe they're not even friends. He's not even friend with Tom Brady. Just because Tom Brady is white and Skip will always stand up for white. That's something black people have to remember. Because black people like to criticize their own all the time. You know, it's something, you know, Dr. Arikana says about it. Chuambori in Africa says every continent has its own problems. The problem is in Africa, we like to talk about our problems publicly. You know, it's like a married couple that talks about their issues online instead of, you know, presenting a much more like togetherness in public. And when we go in private, we deal with our issues. We don't do that. And I've seen many times where these African Americans on TV talking crap about their own people because they're in the presence of their perceived white friends. And Shannon Sharpe found out the hard way. It's the same thing with all these African leaders that go to you. I saw this one leader, I can't remember which country he was from, in France. The dude is so old and he's suffering from some illness. He's about to die. He can't even walk. And the president of France embraced him and helped him to his car. So that guy in his mind is thinking, oh, this guy loved me. This white man loved me. No, he doesn't. He doesn't give two craps about you. Nah, never. You know, the only people you should be wanting to be together are black people, your fellow friends. You know, but we are growing up in this society where one group is so rich, so everyone is trying to be associated with the rich group, which is the normal way. But that, as a society, then we're not going to go anywhere. It's something even Ethiopia found out the hard way. Initially, they wanted to be part of Europe. They laughed at them until they became part of Africa and formed the African Union. Shannon Sharpe found out the hard way. This man mistreated him. This man treated him like a boy, like their friendship didn't mean nothing, over someone who maybe he doesn't even know him. Tom Brady might just know Skip as a guy on TV. And listen to the Shannon Sharpe gets up. He's a big guy. Gets up. Say, even his voice changes. And the glasses come off. Skip, who's a smaller guy, tells him to put your glasses back on. And Shannon Sharpe picks up the glasses and puts them on. Because Skip Bayless was talking from power, from position of power. He knew Shannon Sharpe wouldn't dare put his hands on him on live TV, because that would be the end of him. It's like the same thing that happened to Kanye West. That would be the end of you. My people, this is Skip Bayless talking, own everything here. And if you put your hands on me, it's like putting your hands on them, and they'll make you pay. Not only are you gonna get sacked from this TV joint, you're not gonna be allowed to go on any TV joint. That's it. You'll be done. Skip Bayless knew his position. And Shannon Sharpe, in that moment, when Skip said, "Put your glasses back on, Negro boy," Shannon Sharpe had to put his glasses back on. It was sad and hilarious at the same time. This is why I keep telling people, man, we gotta come together. Black people gotta come together. You know, it's the same thing. You can go and fight for the American army. You know, all of these guys have to say this and that, the Charlemagne's and all of them. At the end of the day, as long as you don't control the narrative, you are nobody. And they'll make you know that when the time comes. They'll make you pay when the time comes. And Shannon found out the hard way. You know, please don't be like Shannon. They are not your friends. Okay? They stick together, and we should stick together. Moving on. I'm going to talk about Deion Sanders. Man, I love that man, man. That guy, I'm old. I don't even know play. I don't even watch American football. It's not really my kind of thing. I watch soccer. What you guys call soccer. That's more like my thing. You know. But when you hear Deion Sanders talk, I feel like I can play. I get motivated. Like, man, I gotta go out and play. Because the guy just knows how to talk. He knows how to motivate people. You know, he's good. You know. And one thing that he's not mentioning, because he went to Jackson State University, which is an HBCU. For those that most of you don't know, HBCU, these are black-run universities in America, right? Now, there's something I want to tell you about the importance of education. The richest man in America, Smith, what's his name? I know the last name is Smith. The first name is gone, but it's Smith. You Google it. Is the richest black man in America. It's worth about $8.5 billion. Not that kind of stuff you are hearing. This is true, founded, researched, done properly. This guy is rich. You don't know about him because he's not an entertainer. Most of you guys just know entertainers. You know, there's something he said during when they were desegregating the school system in America. That's when he was going to school, and what happened was they were going to move from the school they were going to go to, which was obviously run badly, poorly funded, so it was terrible, to a better school, which had white kids and all that stuff, and they were just going to be all mixed up, right? What happened during that time is that, so there had all these school buses that were going to be taking up these kids, and what happened during that time was some racists went and bent some of these buses, most of the buses, only a few left. So that means have some of the people in that area where they lived then have to stay in their schools, which were poorly funded, badly run. And the other kids, which happened to be the area in which it was, they had to go to this better school with the white kids. And there's something he said about the schools. I just had to put this in because this is very important. There's something he said about the people that went to the better schools in his time. Most of them today, the richest black man, that's him. He runs it's more like an hedge fund, but in a way it's like they look after, they improve the efficiency of industries. Let me just put it that way, and that's what they work on. You know, if you are making if you're maybe making $80 million as a business a year, they can come in and say, you know what, we can improve the parts that put your company together, make them more efficient, maybe 20% more efficient, which is gonna look good on your bottom line. And that's what this company called. It's called Vista. So very highly educated guy, you know, he's a chemical engineer and all that stuff. That was his foundation, and then from there he moved on to other things. Obviously found himself in finance. But that's something you guys can look up. And what happened is that the group of people that were went to better schools, today there's him and the other people have done very well in life. They're lawyers, they're doctors, they're engineers, all this stuff. So that's the most important thing I just want to say about going to better schools, right? Now, the HBCUs, because obviously they're black people. Most black people are poor. You know, they're badly funded. So they're not as good in terms of in terms of money as white colleges. Okay, so let me just put that out there. They're still good, but here's one thing Deion Sanders has exposed about these things, and it's actually quite sad. I've two things. One thing, and this is what he's not talking about. Deion Sanders wanted to flip the HBCUs college, not just the college system, but it was going to be the whole system, not just the football, but it's going to be the basketball, the academics, and this is what he was instilling in his players. Most of his players apparently have graduated, and the ones who are not about to graduate, they've improved their, I think when America they call it GPU, from 2.9, between 2.9 and over 2.9, 3.5, some even 4 point something. This is out of 5, right? So they've done quite well, because his job was to tell these kids that it's not just about playing football. You gotta do well academically as well. But he just didn't want that to be the end of it all. He wanted that transformed into also the same sort of mindset being instilled, not just in academics. The kids, not everyone is athletic, so you might not be athletic, but academically, you know, and the way the whole HBCU system is run, he wanted that to improve. And what he's not talking about is the fact that he went around people that he knew, Walmart, invested quite heavily in Jackson State University. Apparently, they pretty much did the whole stadium for them. Walmart. Under Armour invested a lot, even in the jerseys and all that stuff that these kids were wearing, among other companies and other things. There was just money pouring into these HBCUs. But the thing is, Deion Sanders is a well-known figure, but he used that his celebrity status to go to these companies. Some of them were his friends. And this is what I talk about. And this is why that is important. Sometimes it's about relationships. But how are you going to create relationships when you are just in the hood? And that's all you know. You can come out of there, go to an become educated and have a PhD and maybe even become a chancellor of these universities, but you don't have relationships in the higher powers. You don't even know how to approach that. So when it comes to running stuff, you're not going to run it properly, because a lot of things in this world are not about how educated you are. It's about what relationships do you bring or do you have. And this is where Deion Sanders came in, and he proved that. But one thing that he's not talking about is the fact that it's just not about how the HBCUs are run, but also about other rich black people. Because what he wanted to do, like I say, he wanted to transform everything. He was going to attract, if you look at who are the top basketball players in America, they'll be black. The football, they are proportionally presented. Black Americans are proportionally presented into these sports, overly represented. Is 10% of the, I think 10 or 12% of the population in America. But when you go to basketball, you find there's probably 40, if not 50, 60% of them are black. And you go into all these other stuff, there's more of them. And most of these, and when they get to that stage, most of them goes through white agencies and these people and that people. So the money actually gets taken from the black communities already. There's a lot of money that gets taken from there, and when these people get to a point where they're making real money, that money is being taken from the community, which is not good. And what Deion Sanders wanted to create was to make sure that all these black kids started going to these HBCU universities. And when everything improves, so he said if they can go there, there's sport, there's academics better, or at the same level as all the other academics. So he called up all, he's not saying he called up all the rich, the so-called, the guys that you guys talk about a lot, the Jay-Z's, the rich, the P. Diddy's, the Dr. Dre's, the rich, the billionaire black guys. We even saw Snoop going there. He was telling these people, guys, invest. Let's put this money and we can control this factory, which is going to be churning out proper athletes. You know what? If we can protect it and these kids get drafted into the NFL, the agencies are black, they go to black schools. So you create this black thing that can create a factory, this machine that's running and producing money, not only just for the schools now, this money goes even into the community. No black person put their hand up. Nobody. No black rich person puts their hand up. When they could easily see how this thing improved. When he went there, the stadiums were getting filled up. People were paying to go and see them. So it wasn't free. People were paying, they were making money. That's one thing. None of the so-called rich billionaire black guys showed up. None. No one put their hand up. Now, the other thing that I found quite sad is how these HBCUs are run. They are run the same way these African countries are run. People stealing. Apparently the deal was that if he sold more than 30,000 tickets, after that he'll get a cut. He was selling 60,000, but when he got to see the figures are showing only 28,000 tickets were sold. So where's the other 32,000 tickets? Because there were 60,000 people in there. Jealousy kicks in. People wanting to take it all. And what he wanted was even the kids who are playing should also be getting paid a certain amount of money from whatever money we are making. They didn't have sometimes they have to fly to go and play in far places. That wasn't in the budget. The cost of flying for the players wasn't in the budget. They're badly run, badly funded. But there's two reasons for that. Badly run, it's because the people don't have a blueprint of how to run these things. They don't have it. They don't know it. Just because someone is educated doesn't mean they're gonna do something proper. No. You have to create an environment. There has to be a blueprint on how these things are run. Like I said, that's why I said you have to have relationships. You're not even gonna know how to do it. So this is why the guy Deion is saying, I've shown you the blueprint, and you might be able to follow. This is how you can do it. This is how we can bring in more money, and make these things run as a factory, as a machine that benefits our community. It's just sad that black billionaires, that all of you guys celebrate and buy their music and wear what they wear and all that stuff, didn't care about the community. But in the end of the day, because everyone now start complaining, oh, we don't control this. So you had a chance to control something, which is sport, which you dominate. If you can control sport and you can control music, what do I mean by that? You own every aspect of these industries because you dominate it. The communities in Africa and the African communities in America will change dramatically. And this money is invested into the community. It will change like that. But no one showed up. And the fact that these HBCUs are run like African countries, that's sad. That's really, really sad. Money was being siphoned out of the games. The places apparently are terrible. There's no security. There's a chance you can even get murdered on campus. Some of them don't even have like enough water supply. I hear some of them even have roaches and all stuff like that. Honestly, sounds like something in Africa. So these are the questions people should sit down and ask each other, like, how do we improve on this? That's the things that we don't know how to do because we've been so excluded from these things. And now there should be some sort of research on how we can get better, because I think with everything that's starting to come about these schools and the Asians and all that stuff, education for black people in America is going to be harder to get into. And the best thing you can do is to make sure what you have work effectively and improves the standard of learning at these institutions. So those are the two things I want to talk about. Shannon Sharpe is a disappointment to black Americans. Deion Sanders, what a hero, man. And he's got a new job. He's going to a white-owned university. But the craziest, or some of the good thing about this is like African American coaches have been complaining about not being given an opportunity to coach in these schools. And I think like what he's done, where 90% of his staff is black. So the vice coach or the deputy coach, whatever he's called, the trainers, the quarterback trainer, the guy, they're all black, and they'll be teaching, in a majority white-owned business. If he can produce results, it changes about how black people are looked, black coaches are looked at in America. Remember, it's something that's happening in soccer. Back in the day, they had this thing again. There was a stigma against having a black goalkeeper. I don't know if people remember. This is in soccer in Europe. But now you find some of the best goalkeepers are actually black. Because just one person became a goalkeeper, and they changed everything, and on how these people are looked at. And I think that's the path Deion Sanders is taking, and it might actually be a very good thing. I can't wait to see how Colorado performs under his watch, because I think it's a huge task. But if he can do that for 5 years, I think he has a 5-year contract. If he can make this Colorado work, and hopefully every people with money, black people with money in America, can look at, not just in America, I think it would just be globally, can look at that. In 5 years time, they might bring him back to an HBCU and fund this man's vision, so we can stop just complaining and start actually doing things that change how the lifestyle and also the status of the communities, in African American communities in the US. based on the fact that you gotta benefit from what you do best, you know, and you gotta dominate that industry. It should be you. If you go to Hollywood, the Jews dominate Hollywood, but it's not just the producers and the actors. It's the people funding these movies. It's the agencies. They dominate in all those spaces, even though the population is very tiny compared to the rest of the population. You go to finance, the same thing. They dominate those things, you know. So if you start dominating in athletics, because that's why you are overly represented, but you don't control it. But if you can start controlling it and dominating it in every aspect of that sport, money starts flowing through, you know. In HBCU, probably some of the coaches is taken, we're getting paid $60,000. Now they'll be going to this Colorado thing and they'll be earning something like $300,000. And this is on a white campus. That's not a bad thing. That's a huge improvement. I don't know, people are complaining, but I don't think he's forgotten about the HBCUs. He might be back. Or he's just gonna leave a blueprint. Either way, as black people, you'll be winning with Deion Sanders. Thank you, guys. I just wanted to throw in my 2 cents, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you. Goodbye.